Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel review anything and everything. And today we're getting into this Marvel Legends series Daredevil Born Again figure. Now, I actually ordered this on pre-order from Amazon, and link's gonna be in the description down below for you to purchase this on Amazon, but that did not come in as of yet. But Target, for whatever reason, ended up having this before that order ended up coming in, and I seen a lot of people were purchasing it at Target, so I decided to get this. But so this one I'm actually going to end up giving to my son because he's a fan of Daredevil. He watched a couple of the episodes before. He was just a fan in general of superheroes, but he has become a fan of Daredevil in recent years. So this one being from the TV show is actually really awesome. Now I'm going to speak on this from two perspectives. I'm going to speak on it from the perspective of the figure that I pre-ordered, and then I'm going to speak it from the perspective of my son and him enjoying it. So for me, well, first let me just show that text on the back here. It says, "What kind of lawyer is Matt Murdock? A really good one. Ace attorney by day, Matt Murdock pursues justice for those who cannot achieve it themselves." You see the nice art on the back. Now, I purchased this figure here because I actually wanted a Daredevil. I could not find any kind of Daredevil. This is like maybe like about a year ago. Couldn't find a regular costume Daredevil. Now, I am definitely a fan of the Daredevil normal costume in the comics. And when the Netflix series came out, I was a fan of that Daredevil from the Netflix series. But that one, as far as the figure went, predated the time I got into collecting Marvel Legends. So that one had an extremely high price. An older comic version one also had an extremely high price. They released a cell shaded one that was part of, I think it's part of the Spider-Man comics line, because Spider-Man TV show line, because it had Hydro Man, it had cell shading, and Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken, was in the Spider-Man cartoon years back. So it was a nice looking Daredevil. I would have been okay with that, but it came in a double pack, and that double pack was $50. It never went on sale. And this is a funny thing that happens with Marvel Legends, and I spoke on this one time in a past video. Sometimes it's a gamble. You wait and you see if an item was mass produced at a point where there's so many of them out there, it's not selling, it goes on sale. Or sometimes they make a figure, it sells out, and then now any ones that come afterwards are now priced even higher. And so it's that kind of gamble of when it comes out now, do I get it at the base price, or do I wait to see if it drops, or is it going to end up increasing in price? And unfortunately, that figure and that double pack did not decrease in price. I think it went up a little bit and then it vanished and it wasn't being produced anymore. And so I couldn't justify buying a 2-figure $50 pack for a figure that I didn't even, one of the figures I didn't even want. So luckily this one came out, and for me, it satisfies that Daredevil need. I'm not really particular in terms of it having to be a comic version or a TV series version, an MCU version. I'm fine with just whatever I can get. I'm not one of those hardcore collectors like that. But as far as for my son goes, though, I just knew he would enjoy this. This also gave me opportunity to review it a little bit sooner than waiting for the one that was going to come out. He is a big fan of Marvel Legends now. Well, he's a big fan of superhero characters in general. And obviously the only lines that I feel exist, quality lines for Marvel characters, is Marvel Legends, because anything below that, you get 3/4 inch ones now. These kind of, I don't know who they're made by, but a lot of them are just really cheap. They don't have posability. This is really the only way to get like a quality figure. Unfortunately, the prices are usually pretty high, but I got the one on Amazon for the base price, $24.99. And then this one actually got on sale with a Target coupon. So I will say, like I said, I'm gonna have the link in the description down below, but if you're not able to get it at Target, you can do the Amazon affiliate link and get it from Amazon. If you can get a discount on Target, because they always have discounts, I would say go for it. But the only thing I'm going to say is, for me, it wasn't available to be picked up at my local location. And I had it in my cart until I was able to get free shipping on it. Because otherwise the discount would have been null and void, because I would have had to pay like $4 or $5 in shipping, which would have made no sense. So right here, I'm not going to unbox this one right now. I'm going to come back and my son is going to open it up separately off camera. He's going to play with it. And once he does that, I am then going to review the figure. So I'm not going to do the unboxing here, but just to kind of really go over a couple of things inside here. He doesn't have a bunch of things, a bunch of accessories, but obviously he's got his billy clubs. He has his billy club. It's breakable into two. He's got the little holder area on the side. He's got the string line that goes in between it, and he's got the other set of hands, the open hands, and he's got his closed hands. Actually, no, this is an open hand and that is a fist hand. So not bad, not bad. I think I actually would have preferred an additional open hand, and the reason why I say that is because, like I said, I'm not a particular stickler when it comes to Marvel Legends and action figures in general. I'm fine with his gripping hands also doubling as fist hands when it comes to, say, punching or something of that sort, because I'm not a poser, the one who poses figures. I don't do all that stuff. So I get why some people that might be a big deal, but for me, coming from the way back in the days, action figure days, when you had like G.I. Joes and they were only 3 3/4 inch size, they just had that general kind of hand and you just worked with what you had. So to me, that's not a big deal. So I would have preferred another open hand situation. But anyway, I think the detail on the figure really looks nice. The outfit looks really good. It actually kind of reminds me of the Deadpool that came with the unicorn, where obviously that was based off of the movie as well. That, you know, some kind of video media, not the comics. And he had more realistic suit design as far as the way they did the suit design was taken off of the movie. Unfortunately, I tried to buy that one a couple of times, twice, and I always got a fake, and I was only able to get the one that was for Deadpool versus Wolverine, and I don't like that suit as much as the other one, but the other one twice in a row I've gotten fakes, so at this point I just give up on trying to even get it. But yeah, so we'll be back with this thing already unboxed, and we're going to get into a more detailed review of this figure. All right, everybody, we are back and taking a look at what the figure comes with. Pretty much what we saw in the beginning is what he comes with. There's no other hidden stuff inside there. You've got this hand right here, the open hand, and then you've got the closed fist hand. I definitely want to say right off the bat, I actually really like this figure because this whole kind of realistic tactical look of, like, you know, it's not, how should I say, comic book costume. I like both. I like both aspects of Daredevil, but like the fact that this version of him being in, and when I say this version, I'm not talking about specifically this model, but just in general, his TV version in general, versus the comics. I think it was done in such a good way that, like, I really like it. Like, as far as the details of the costume and whatever the case is, it's not a good replacement for the comic one, in the sense, like, if you want the comic book look, if you mind the comic book look, in the sense, like, you want that one, you don't want a TV version, or if you want the TV version, you don't want the comic version. They're not interchangeable. But if you're the type who just says, I want a good looking Daredevil, this is a good looking Daredevil. And I've always been a fan of the one inside the show, so it's definitely good. One other thing I want to show is his rope here. Now, some people said that they wish that it was a wire bendy type, and this is not at all. It's just like pretty just straight flexible. Let me move him out the way because it's focusing on him. And another thing too, I will say, is these pegs, I don't feel that they go deep enough into his billy club. Maybe I just didn't have a chance to push them in deeply, but I feel like they come off pretty easily. But that's obviously coming from a perspective of it being somewhat moved around. Here you have the holder for his billy club, which is cool. I do wish that they had where this, get that to focus. I wish that it came with a little peg that connected them, but it doesn't. So where this should be one thing, like in the show, and I really like that little holder that he has on him there. It's not removable, but I think that's really awesome. I think it's better that it's not removable because then soon it would get loose and wouldn't be able to stay there. But I think that's really cool. DareDevil is one of those characters that I kind of like in that he doesn't have a whole bunch of equipment. So what he has, they give a spot for him to hold, and that satisfies that. So that's really cool. Here you can see here, they did a little bit of silver metallic paint on the tips, which is cool. I could see that really rubbing off very soon, as you already see a little bit on mine there. The bottom, they didn't do the tips, but just the sides of the tips. It's cool. I think that if someone's just posing the figure, that should last relatively long. If you're not just posing the figure and you are, and it's someone playing with them, that might run the risk of rubbing off. But at the same time too, a kid who's playing with them are probably not going to care that much about that anyway. Like I said before, I do wish that they were able to lock in, because that's the reason why I keep always saying Billy Clubs and not Billy Club, because this is 2 parts and it doesn't actually come together as one, except when you have it on the rope here, which, like I said before, I don't think that these go in deep enough. That's as deep as they go. If all that part there, it went in there, I feel like it would be better. But here you go. And I think that, to be honest with you, it's cool that his Billy Club rope is long, but it's kind of a little too long in my opinion. For not the, like, as far as if like the reality of the character using it, he uses it to sometimes swing on things. So yes, it should be able to be long, but then at the same time too, for posing, it kind of is too out there in my opinion. Let's try to get this in his hand. I'm not getting a good gripping on this. There we go. Let's see. I'm having trouble with that, just getting that in his hand. You should probably try to get the Billy Club in his hand first before, there we go. I try to go in sideways, but you got to just slide it into the hand like that. And then now you could see, let me adjust the camera angle a little bit so you guys can see him a little bit better. And you can see here how that's held. Like, it's not, now you could always do something like this. Let's see if this slides in. Pretty easy. You know, you could do something like that to a degree, but it definitely, you could see here that it's definitely not that same vibe in terms of, yeah, like it's just like one thing about it that is good though is that it's very flexible. So if you were to, well, that's one problem though, is that it runs the risk of coming out. Let's see if I've never done a dynamic pose or anything like that for a figure before. So let's see what I can get out of this. Some people said it has this really nice ab crunch, but let's see if that's real or somebody, I think I seen that on a video where someone actually modded their ab crunch, because it's not the way that it was being depicted. Let's just say that. I definitely can't get the look that I'm trying to get right now. Let's go with that for right now. Okay. I don't know what you guys think about that. Yeah. So at least what I was trying to get at is that the wire will kind of, whatever pose you put him in, it should be bendy enough that it will keep the shape of whatever it is that his 2 arms are holding it, making it do. But yeah. But as far as just a figure goes in general, I really like him a lot. I am definitely a big fan. I'm I'm definitely a big fan of this right here. And I'm normally not one of those ones who do a whole bunch of articulation, but I also will let you guys know that he has very little articulation in his torso area, and I don't want to break him. But what it is I seen someone else on a video had him really doing some crazy poses, and a lot of people suspect that he went, whoever that person was, modded it out as far as, that was hard to get off, as far as the ab crunch area. My son really was a fan of this right here, this figure. When he got him, he was actually very excited. I wish that I could do a dynamic or crazy pose, but unfortunately, you really kind of can't. And I'm normally not one of those people who goes over articulation, as I mentioned before, but he's definitely one of those characters, unfortunately, where you can't get those really crazy poses with him because he has no ab crunch ability. And at least from what I'm getting, I can't do anything with the, I can't get his arms to even touch the floor and have that look where he's like maybe looking upwards. No, I can't really do anything. But he's got a really, like I said, I've never been one who's big about articulation, but I really have almost no form of articulation with this figure. And I definitely know that this is a real figure, because I say that because I mentioned early in the video, I had the Deadpool ones that were fake figures. I definitely know that this is not that, but the articulation on this thing is actually pretty bad when I'm seeing. I really like the figure though, but it's pretty bad as far as that goes. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest with you. My son played around with him a little bit, but he just mostly just sat him up and posed him for right now. And so I didn't really get to see how he was in terms of that. But definitely I will say that he is a pretty cool figure. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I definitely feel that he has really good detail. I'm really a fan of the detail. I'm really a fan of all of that. Like I said, my only gripe right now when it comes to this figure right now is just simply the fact that if you are planning on doing a lot of articulation with this figure, you're probably not going to be able to do that with him. As far as, like I said before, just in general, you enjoying the character and you like just the way he looks and fitting him into your collection, I think he's definitely fits that. And right now, to be honest with you, like I mentioned before, there really isn't any other option out right now. Like there really isn't any other decent Daredevil. I wish that there was like a regular comic version out that they used, especially now seeing that the articulations and all the greatness, that they use one that has like some really good articulation. But to be honest, yeah, this is pretty much the best that we're gonna get right now in general as a Daredevil. And like I said, I don't think I like the look, but I'm just if I'm a little bit thrown off, it's just that I'm a little surprised at the level of articulation and how it is, to be honest with you. It really kind of makes me a little shocked. I can't even get him in these kind of poses. And like I said, this one right here is my son's figure, so I don't want to do anything to damage it, because then I'll have to buy him another one. But I can't even get him to look forward to the camera right now while posing in any kind of crazy dynamic way. So I think he's cool just for like kids playing with. I'm gonna honestly say, as far as one like, you know, a person, a collector buying him, he's pretty bad. I don't know if it's my copy. I'm gonna have to look online to see what other people have, you know, reviewed him and see how good the articulation is. This articulation is really, really bad. And I don't want to assume at all that this is like, you know, a fake or anything like that, because I just wouldn't want to think that. But yeah, at the same time, I've had so many bad experiences now with some that I don't want to think that's the case. But why is this figure not able to, he has no ab crunch? So I'm definitely gonna have to check that out to see if anyone else's figures are this same way, but I really can't put him in any kind of decent pose. Link's gonna be in the description down below, as I mentioned before, for Amazon. If you guys want to pick him up, I think if you just have him just a pose just like that as a figure for a collection, or you want to get him for a kid to play with, which is fine because kids aren't going to be doing the crazy dynamic posing, I think that it's a great figure for that. After just in the midst of this review, because like I said, my son was playing with him, but as far as me kind of handling him, I definitely would say that he's best just for that, and that's really about it. As far as posability, he's really not the one. As always, you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.